Good morning, Facebook. Michael Gebben here. Haven't posted too much. I think I had the same shirt on in the last live I did a couple weeks ago about my little dog passing away. That was a real release there on that particular one. I've got some people. There's going to be content coming out for me on a more regular basis again here soon, but it's going to be more posted by some people I'm getting to help me. Practicing what I preach. Try to do that as much as possible, which ties into this. I just felt really compelled to get on here this morning because, last year, with everything that happened across the world, a lot of people's everything got hit hard. And it hurt people's bank accounts. It hurt people's confidence. It hurt people's relationships. It hurt people's belief in themselves. It hurt all sorts of things, and people are recovering from that. But it's been brought to my attention just because I've pretty much been off social media here for the last couple weeks, except for checking a few things strategically, but I got them off my phone. So right now I put this on just to do this live, and I'm going to delete it when I get off. But in 2021, it's amazing to me that there's still lots of online marketers out there that are being able to sell people in droves by leaving out a lot of ingredients, and what I mean by that is that their stories, because some I know, and I'm shocked that they still do what they're doing today, but there's this aspect that there's a belief in the marketing world that at times, and it's shifting for sure, but there's still plenty of people out there marketing to people and doing what I'm about to say, which is really skewing the truth, making things appear a lot easier than they actually are, and preying on people who really want something that can be easier, that can be simpler, that can transform their life, make them thousands of dollars a month in passive income. And all the people I know who are even selling that work really hard, and not from a part of it's difficult for them, but from a part that they put in a lot of time. They put in a lot of hours every single week, and they love what they do. But when they're selling, the approach they're selling people who haven't had, especially if you're a beginner, if you're trying to make money online, or trying to have an online business or YouTube channel or an Instagram or any of these things, there's so much information out there, and there's so many different kind of skewed perspectives that people see. And there's people still buying into the, hey, we've got this valued at this, valued at this, valued at this. Wait, we got some bonuses and some facts and bonuses, and it valued at this and valued. And you know what? If you buy all of this that's normally valued at $15,000, I'm going to give it to you for $400. Now, whether they're aware or not that the likelihood, based on my stats and everything that I've studied through the years, that the person's never going to go through any of that they're likely to not even log in, that their simple act of feeling compelled to buy, but then getting to the place where now I have to execute, I have to take action, is where so many are. If you understand anything, I've been studying under Steve Sisler, a good friend of mine, behavioral profiler for about 7 years. Now, if you're hearing me too, give me a rock and roll and make sure I'm actually being heard right now. But, if you've ever taken a DISC assessment, there's the D, the I, the S, and the C. And the D is a dominant line. It's a red line on this assessment. And what you'll find is there's another assessment, and I can get you the link if you want to take this right now, but there's another assessment that's the motivations. And a lot of people who are dreamers but tend to not be doers, their motivation is they've got dreams, they've got ambitions, right? They've got lots of ideas all the time. But their behavior, the DISC, what they'll actually do is where the rubber meets the road at times. So now it's not that doesn't matter how you're wired on certain levels that you can't succeed, that you can't make a living, that you can't do what you love. You can. But the way you'll achieve it is key. The way you'll achieve it is key. So when you're observing people who are, I'm going to use people that, at least in circles that I know through the years, and most would know from the last president, but a Donald Trump, a Grant Cardone, a Gary Vaynerchuk. These are people that if you looked at their disc, their D is really high. The red line, the engine line is very high. Now, if you were to have an understanding of yourself and your behavior, if you're learning from people like that, you've got to recognize that how they'll achieve success will be very, very different from the way you achieve success. But when you follow people like that, you're likely to be very, 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 very frustrated because they're promising you certain things and telling you to do it in certain ways. And without knowing even at times, they're leaving out ingredients. They're leaving out details. But those details are very, very important. Any of you are bakers or cook, you know how important it is that if you're to cook something at 350 degrees for 12 minutes with certain ingredients, and you put it in for 450 degrees for 40 minutes, and you leave out a couple ingredients, you're not going to get the same thing. And you're not going to get the same result. And the problem is, which is where I come at my approach when I'm helping people, is recognizing how much I lost, how much I failed at times, following what I thought was the right ingredients, but they're not right for me because I might not cook at 350 degrees, 12 ingredients for 20 minutes. I might be 450 for 40 minutes with a certain different type of ingredients because I am different. You are different. And if you keep buying courses, programs, step-by-steps, and systems thinking that they're giving you the ingredients for you, listening to me right now, that if you just do dun, 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 you'll get what they got. You're going to be making $5,000 a month in 90 days. You're going to be making $10,000 a month in 3 days. Like, whatever it is, you've got, for the love of God, all things whatever. You've got to really slow down when you're finding something that's like, oh, this Facebook group's worth $5,000 and this is worth $3,000 and this is worth $2,000 and if you act today, you're going to get this thing and that thing and all these bonuses and all these extra things and 5,000 hours of videos that you've likely already done once, twice, 5 times, 10 times. You've likely bought a book for $14 that you've still never read, right? And so, you know, the way I've sold my coaching, the way I've sold my speaking is a little against the grain. And at times, I just can't fall in line with what works. I've seen people recently where they had it a certain way. I'm like, it looks less scummy. Awesome. And it didn't sell as well for them. And guess what? They went back to the scummy way. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I want to take an acid bath. Anybody relating to this today? Anybody find this helpful? I don't know if people have been on here more than 5 seconds or you're been on here for 5 minutes, but give me a rock and roll in the comments if you're enjoying this. But yeah, understanding yourself is so important. You know, you don't want to build a 5,000 square foot home and start buying the roof and the freaking windows and get all the best appliances and everything if your 5,000 square foot home is built on a 500 square foot foundation. You know, it's just sand and there's a little bit of concrete, but it's not on all the walls. There's nothing deep, right? You know, it's not going to work. House is going to fall down, right? And so the problem is too many times we're first buying tactics and strategies and technical and step-by-steps and systems, and we're buying all these things. That's buying the roof and the windows and the doors and the appliances before you've built your foundation. And how many of you are 25, 35, 45, 55, 65 years old, and you still don't understand you, but you think that getting another degree, an online course, an online program, a system, a step-by-step, somebody selling you the farm, if you just do this, you're going to win. And in the last year, probably more than any year prior to the last 10, I have seen people who bought into these types of things and they win big. They win big. But I have seen far more who were wanting the result that was being promised. And it's not that they bought something that was totally crap and wouldn't work and was truly a scammer. They bought something that was sold by people who had something really great. I'm obsessed with the people who aren't winning, who have 50 books in their house right now. They've bought 15 online courses. They have a degree. They have $5,000 certifications. And yet they can't figure out how to make more than $20,000 a year. They're super educated. You're super smart. You're a super intelligent human being. And you've got talent, but you're struggling. You're stressed. You're worried. You're anxious. You don't know how you're going to pay your bills. But you've got the knowledge. You've bought the systems. My thing is, why aren't you executing those systems? Why aren't you implementing those systems? Why aren't they working for you? They promised you that it would. They promised you. So what's the solution? I'm not saying I personally have the solution, but the greatest gift I have ever given myself is to learn about myself. I've been doing it for about 7-8 years right now. I have it's the work I do with people. I'm not selling people systems. I don't have bonuses and step-by-steps and all these random ass things to give you 4 million hours of stuff to watch that you're not going to watch, and PDFs and worksheets that you're not going to fill out but make you feel good on the inside, right? But the feeling good on the inside for the instant because you got 45 PDFs and 1,800 videos and 4,000 hours of stuff in a Facebook group. The reality is that's a good instant dopamine hit to make you be like, yes, I got the thing. This is going to change my life. And then you do nothing with it. And so figuring yourself out, building the foundation, gaining an awareness so you can have discernment. When you go to learn from somebody, when you know, yes, videos what I want to do, open a bakery is what I want to do, an online business is what I want to do, real estate's what I want to do, whatever it is that you want to do, when you are so confident that that is right for you, and you know the way that when you learn from certain people, you're going to be like, yeah, that's not for me, that's not going to help me. I mean, I've had a decade of like, sometimes I'm like, am I paying attention here? Because I think I've done this about 50 times now in the last decade, and I'm getting the same result over and over again. That's called the definition of insanity from Mr. Albert Einstein, I believe. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. But we can do something over again, and we can do it in a different way, and we can get a different result. But we cannot continue to be unaware and buying programs, courses, online degrees, online certifications, and all these things, thinking that, because what's it doing? It's masking one's self-worth and self-belief and self-confidence, right? That somebody can't be a coach without 5 certifications and 5 degrees. You shouldn't be a brain surgeon without some professional, like very controlled training. But there's very little things in this world where you must be having the degrees and the little logo on your website and featured in Forbes, and you got to be on the media and you got to have features. Like, none of that matters if you don't believe in yourself, because all that's doing is masking your lack of self-love. And why am I saying this? This isn't an attack on any of you. This is me speaking out loud as much for me as it is for any of you. Because I've had the struggle, the suffering, the pain, the anxiety, the worry, the stress, the irritation, the frustration, the what the F, what is going on here? I have access to the best. Some of you are buying the person's $500 course. I'm having one-on-one calls with them and was still struggling. And I felt like a fool. And a lot of the people I had in my corner, they weren't mean people. They weren't trying to hurt me. They weren't trying to not help me. They were trying to help me. But because most people have almost zero self-awareness in regards to understanding that the way they teach, even me, that the way we teach is us. The way we succeeded and the way we teach is us. So I've had to discern that. I help all sorts of different types of people. But there's ways I did certain things to like build my production company back in the day that some people are not going to do. And if I shove down your throat the way, but it's not the right way, there's not a right or wrong way. There's just a way, there's not the way. And let me know if this is resonating in the comments. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, just very passionate. I just got on here. I'm like, it's like I have these platforms. I have people listening to me, and I'm here to do the thing I do. I say, tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so your ideas don't die in your hearts, heads, and hard drives. And so many people are more likely to buy somebody promising them the moon, the stars, and the universe for $10,000 with 4,000 videos, 50 mentors, Facebook group, and all this other horse hockey, and then not get anything out of it. And yet if I'm just like, it's just me, they're like, well, oh my God, I really need all this other fancy stuff. Stop being sold by fancy. The fancier it is, the less likely it is to help you. The greatest help and support I've had has been from people that nobody knows overall. Like relative to the internet, they're not marketers, right? They're not online marketers, online course creators, right? They don't have big social media followings. They literally are people that just care and they do their thing and they help people. That's it. You're not inadequate, Nina. See, that's the thing that drives me nuts. I was just on something the other day, we'll just say, and it's just like a lady started crying, getting emotional. Because I said, you'll never be paid more than you believe you are worth. Your self-worth dictates your success. And most people are buying courses and programs and step-by-steps and systems and education because they got, not always. It's not black and white. Nothing is. But the reality is most people are buying all these things with promises of fortune because they don't understand themselves. They don't love themselves. That's what I did. Because I don't learn that way. You got to find the way you learn. Now, some do, but we've got to distinguish between a doer, right, and at times an entrepreneur and an artist. They're not always the same. I have entrepreneurial vision, but I'll be completely frank with all of you. What I've gained awareness recently with my video production company that I no longer do, I coach full time. Michael Gibbon, the Mind Mechanic. And if anyone wanted to try out my Coach in Your Pocket and me dig into you, I'll give you a trial. I won't even charge you anything up front. I'll give you a trial. Send me a message. Put a comment here. I'll give you a little dose. If you love it, you can stay. If you don't, you can leave. Because I'm not here to take your money and then be like, I hope they don't ask for a refund. It's like, I want to help people figure themselves out. But here's the thing. I had a lot of success in video production. I thought pretty good at making money. Made a couple $1 million in about 12, 14 years. I also didn't have much to show for it financially. Why? Because I was really a professional at spending that money. Why? Because my self-worth, my story said, if you do what you love, you just get by. And if you make a lot of money, you're miserable. The reality is that story perpetuated until it became a self-fulfilling prophecy. That self-fulfilling prophecy ultimately ended up having me, my man, what's up, brother? At the peak of my income, I was the most unhappy, and I was still getting by. Because when you believe money doesn't grow on trees, when you believe you're not worth much, when you believe you're not enough, when you believe you're inadequate, when you believe that doing what you love means getting by, then no matter how much you earn, you have a freaking burning hole in your pocket where you will be spending money to get you right back to the place of getting by. So when you got by at 30 grand a year, you're going to get by at 80 grand a year. When you get by at 80 grand a year, you're going to get by at 300 grand a year. When you get by at 300 grand a year, you're going to get by at $1 million a year. I might sound like an auctioneer right now because that is what happens with people. I've seen it in my own life play out, and I have experienced it through others many, many, many times. And if you do not heed some version of what I'm saying here, it'll likely happen to you if you don't gain awareness of what are these subconscious things and blocks and things you're speaking that are sabotaging your whole life. Having you not making money, having you being unhappy, having you being dissatisfied, having you be ungrateful, having you not live the life that you really love, working on your terms and on your schedule is possible, but not the way that everybody always promises. So we've got to be aware of who we are, how we're wired. So what I realized full circle, I had a lot of success in video. But when I got into coaching, I'm like, what is going on here? I got access to the best, but I'm freaking not doing well. This is last year, 2020, during the pandemic, first year I coached full time. After a decade of dabbling and trying. and having access to the best, telling me to do this and do that and do this and do that, trying to do this and do that, what they were telling me to do, but I wasn't them. I wasn't connecting with people who were like me so I could do what they said that would work more for me. I was connecting with people who were nothing like me, and what they were telling me to do was wrong for me. It wasn't wrong for all. There were people who got great results with that, but then there's a lot that don't. So what I realize is I'm very entrepreneurial. I have a lot of vision and ideas, and then I'm very creative. But for me, my creativity now with like my coaching is in my speaking, what you're seeing right now. It is my one-on-one work that I do with people, my ability to hear people and help them, my ability to untangle one's thoughts, reflect it back, help them have awareness. Right? I believe that everyone needs to learn about themselves, needs to understand themselves, or they will go through life like a walking zombie and you're already dead, but you'd be buried 50 years from now. Right? We need to be alive. But last year hit a lot of people and they're dying. They're either dead, but they're still walking around, right? And they'll be buried, like I said, 50 years from now. I want to ignite that fire, be that catalyst, activate that drive inside of you that allows you to live, to learn, to be exhilarated, right? Versus continually frustrated, irritated, upset. And so what I realized is I got lucky in video. I happened to do something that what I got paid to do that I loved also marketed for me. Because I wasn't a great marketer. I wasn't great at business. I loved people, and I got really good at shooting and putting these videos together that I showed that night at people's receptions and events. But that had me putting my work in front of 300 or 400 people. When I started coaching, a lot of my coaching happened in private. Right now, I'd love for all of you who are on here to experience at least a day or two in my Coach in Your Pocket for nothing of how I would work with you. How when I can hear you say something, even if I only send you one audio. I had a guy that in 2019, I was offering 30-day trials. I sent him an hour and a half of audios. I never heard a peep from him for a year and a half. And that hour and a half of audios changed his life, and he came back and he worked with me. And so I know that if I get the opportunity to send you 10, 20, 30 minutes that's specific for you, it'll have an impact. If you want to come back and do something with me, 2 thumbs up. There's a lot of work we can do to untangle all the mess that you've potentially mentally got yourself into. But I can't help you. You know, there's a guy I know, he says, I can't help you till you commit. And once you commit, I won't let you fail, right? And so for me, if you don't send me a message, if you don't try that out, if you don't have some faith in yourself, some belief in yourself, some belief in this, you got nothing to lose. A lot of people, you got a lot to lose. I got nothing to lose here. You'd have more to lose. I was like, it's a $25,000. You got to commit, right? And then I shame you and kind of beat you up when you don't take action and you don't do anything, right? We've all been beat up enough. So anyways, self-awareness, believing, understanding yourself, it's everything. Because if you don't see much value in yourself, you'll never make much money overall. Unless you're this most driven, chip on your shoulders, freaking high dominant individual that just goes 18 hours a day and doesn't care who you hurt in a way. Have to go here in a second, right, babe? Gotta go here in a second. We gotta run some errands. But, we've got it, and he just put, that's the way. We've got to find your my way decision. We've got to find what's the right imperfect action for you. Because when you can find what's your way, not my way, not what anybody else's way, but your way, and you declare, you first have to figure out what's right for you, what's wrong for you, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And then you can declare and make a decision that I call a my way decision. Here's who I am, here's what I do, here's how I help, right? Like, I'm Michael Gebben. I'm the mind mechanic. Tuning up hearts and minds one at a time so your ideas don't die in your heart, head, or hard drive. I believe people need to understand who they are, how they're wired, what works for them, what's right for them. I'm not going to sell you all sorts of step-by-steps and this and all this over here, and let me give you some bonuses, and I got 18 books that you won't read and all these other things. I'm just going to talk to you. I either talk to people in groups or talk to people in one-on-one. That's what I do. That's who I am. And when I hear you, I can help you in one way or another. My man Fernando knows. You can put in there, but he was having a hard time last year. Helped him find his way. Now he's in the zone. Now he's moving. Now he's in the flow. Now he's making magic happen. That's all I want for people. If this resonated, you've been sitting on here more than 5 minutes, reach out to me. Send me a private message. Do it now. Don't wait. Don't think about it. I'm not going to hurt. I'm not going to bite. I got a lot of fire, a lot of energy, but I'm one of those loving, caring people you'll probably ever meet. I have no judgment on what one is making, what they're earning, what they want to do. I just want to help you find what's right for you. That really rhymed. I like that. My wife's got her jacket on. I got to go, my friends. Send me a message. I'll give you a trial for a day or two and Coach in Your Pocket. I would love to help. There's no credit card, no nothing. I just want to rock your world. If this resonated, reach out, reach out, reach out. Rock and roll, my friends. Much love. Have a great day.